Chapter 860. The Longdan bright silver spear was equally flawless, precisely blocking each sword light while seizing every opportunity to counter the onslaught of the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss sword. Every time they clashed, Chun Sansi would stagger back under the unbearable assault, the Vajra body at the true power middle stage reverberating incessantly. Standing on the ground and listening, it felt as if someone was continuously striking a grand bell in the Joxiao Heavenly Palace. "Little thief, let's see how long you can hold on," Ling Kuei roared. Every time they exchanged blows, his Nether River true power would infest the opponent like a plague. Sticky black liquid speckled the silver spear, snuffing out the fire element true power wherever it touched. At this rate, it wouldn't take long to degrade him from true power middle stage to early stage until he couldn't use even a trace of power. Oh really? Within the surging true power. What? They had until now. Ling Kuei suddenly noticed an anomaly. His true power was burning faster. He quickly glanced at his ally. Emperor Longqing cast the same glance. His mana consumption was beyond normal as well. How could this be? Could it be due to the opponent's influence? Could it be? Ling Kuei seemed to recall something but quickly dismissed it. Impossible! This wasn't his first encounter with the boy. Previously, he had cultivated the most ordinary fire-breathing technique, producing regular fire element true power. How could there be any special effect? Could it be due to today's heavenly omen, affecting the consumption of true power and mana? In this world where spiritual energy is depleted, such incidents are highly likely. Thinking thusly, Ling Kuei quickly calmed down, his sword moves becoming even more fierce without the slightest flaw. Emperor Longqing simultaneously wielded the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss sword and invoked the Imperial Jade Seal, the sea of magic power within the Dantian of Foundation Establishment realm cultivators surging and raging, creating a formidable magical pressure, intending to end the battle quickly, to eliminate the sole threat to this world. Yet as the battle continued, their expressions grew increasingly solemn, because the increased consumption of true power and mana was no illusion, but very real. They especially felt it once it accumulated to a certain point, as the cause was the strange fire element true power of the white robe. Every exchange, every contact with the fire element true power, the strange flames would linger on their weapons, mystical artifacts, and even penetrate their meridians, like the 16 Jing Shun within Ling Kuei's body, all suffering under the blaze's scorching, forcing every bit of true power initiated through breathing skill circulation to burn first before unleashing with the blade. Hence more true power had to be consumed to maintain the original move's power. Emperor Longqing faced a similar situation. The mana of magic cultivators is stored within the Dantian. With each clash, strands of scalding true power would infiltrate his body, coiling around the Dantian area, causing mana expended in casting spells to diminish. Until this very moment, Ling Kuei finally confirmed. His pupils trembled as he exclaimed in disbelief, "Burning Heaven Breathing Method? Burning Heaven Breathing Method." Ranked among the top 10 breathing skills in martial arts, the Nether River Breathing Method stood at 6th, while the Burning Heaven Breathing Method was 7th, both having similar effects. The latter was ranked that time. The wielder of the Burning Heaven Breathing Method died at the hands of the Nether River Breathing Method, and since then it almost disappeared from sight. Who could have thought it would show up in the Eastern Continent's realm? Where did you get the Burning Heaven Breathing Method? Ling Kuei's eyes were about to burst with rage. Then he sneered, "Even if you got the Burning Heaven Breathing Method, so what? You're still a defeated foe of my Nether River Breathing Method."
Tief, prepare tudi.
He roared, giving his all. Emperor Longqing's suspicious eyes kept flickering, looking at the Dragon Abyss sword in his hand as if hesitating, but ultimately not fully decided, still choosing to face the challenge with the flying sword directly. Boom, boom, boom. True power and mana continually collided, the sound of thunder resounding without pause. Chao Kai and Ling Kuei, with seamless coordination, continuously suppressed each of the white robe's moves, yet their own consumption of true power and mana was intensifying. Chun Sansi was no exception. His long dan bright silver spear's surface gradually became entangled with nether river true power, the shrine within him covered with bone-attaching sore-like sludge, suppressing the fire element true power, making it hard to wield. Their battle had traversed from the west bank of Luo Stream to the east bank. The force erupted was weakening continuously. The immortal crane that all three were flying in midair, unknowingly arriving above Bagong Mountain. They sought to save, facing two. Thus, the situation changed. The attacks of all three lost their mana or true power influence, transitioning to pure martial arts, physical combat. Chapter 862. For martial cultivators, losing true power doesn't mean their physical body becomes weaker. They are still martial saints, and their bodies remain as indestructible as copper skin iron bone. Emperor Longqing had no choice but to let Ling Kuei face the enemy alone. He moved to the flank, took the elixir pills, and desperately tried to recover as much mana as possible. Ling Kuei and Chun Sansi then engaged in a grueling battle of spear technique and swordsmanship, exchanging more than 30 rounds. Qilin's heart effect manifested. What startled Chun Sansi was that the swordsmanship of the person before him had no flaws. Thus, the battle turned into a pure contest of Qi blood. However, this was also Chun Sansi's strong suit, and his foundation was likely more solid than anyone else's. As time passed, Ling Kuei's stamina was visibly waning. Those above martial saint naturally have abundant Qi blood, but when facing someone of the same realm, the depletion is also immense. At the same time, not far away, Chao Kai recovered some mana and once again mobilized Dragon Abyss to attack, only at the Qi refinement realm level of mana. For Chun Sansi now, however, it was like an unstoppable tidal wave that barely blocked, sending him flying backward like a kite with a broken string, crashing through 7 or 8 ancient towering trees before landing in the grass, spitting out a mouthful of blood. Just from this one strike, most of the mana that Emperor Longqing managed to accumulate was again consumed. By this point in the battle, both he and Ling Kuei were still utterly exhausted. Yet, in their horrified gaze, Chun Sansi, his face covered in bloody grime, stood up once more, bursting with speed far beyond before, and even recovering enough fire element true power to support a strike. Unrivaled, Emperor Longqing and Ling Kuei only saw a cold gleam flashing in the distance of the pitch-black forest. Then their vision seemed cut off, a segment of time missing. By the time sight was restored, the cold gleam had turned into firelight, aiming straight for their hearts. Since the spear strike came too swiftly, and they were standing together, one of them almost inevitably had to take the blow, unable to dodge. At this moment, Chao Kai had only a sliver of mana left. If he forcibly blocked this strike, he shouldn't die, but he would undoubtedly suffer severe injuries. And behind him, Ling Kuei's true power was still in the process of recovery, just one last breath away from nurturing enough strength. Madman! He looked at the white robe. Someone must bear this attack. This is the split second between life and death. Could not be dragged on any longer. Chun Sansi knew clearly. If it continued like just now, with Ling Kuei holding him back and Longqing recovering mana, he would undoubtedly die in a war of attrition. He had to take advantage of their exhaustion phase and eliminate one of them first. Ling Kuei saw through the white robe's intention and shouted ahead. Emperor! This is his last true power. Block this strike for me. He'll be depleted and I'll recover to attack. He'll surely die. Emperor Longqing gripped Dragon Abyss, enhancing the thin mana on the blade's edge, looking at the approaching fiery flame gun blade, a flicker of hesitation in his deep-set eyes. Longqing, dare to die. Chao Kai, do you dare die with me? Chun Sansi's hoarse roar echoed for hundreds of miles, like a raging lion, with nothing else to care for beyond the target in front of him, including his own life. Emperor, you won't die. Don't listen to him. Ling Kuei's words trailed off, frozen in place, because the Emperor Longqing, who was supposed to shield him, chose to sidestep just before meeting the Longdan bright silver spear. The unstoppable red flame fire dragon faced no more barriers, carrying blazing fire element true power, tearing through Ling Kuei's yet unrecovered true power skin, flesh, and bones, piercing his heart, until it penetrated his entire body. Chapter 863. Regicide. The sharp gun blade tore through muscle and shattered bone, piercing directly through the martial artist's strong heart. Finally, a burst of burning sky fire erupted from within, scorching the blood dry and cooking flesh and bone to the core.
Heh.
Ling Kuei's body suddenly jolted, crashing into a towering ancient tree as thick as a hug. In the searing heat, no blood could flow from his mouth. He could only clutch the gun shaft with both hands in a final struggle. Clang! The sound of a sword's dragon roar echoed in their ears. Emperor Longqing, dressed in a Taoist robe, stepped aside to evade the gun's gleam and then swiftly thrust the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss sword forward. The sword chi surged directly at the white-robed man's life. But without the support of true power, how could even steel and iron bones resist the sharpness of the Divine Continent's #1 sword that contained spells? Sparks flew between his palm and the blade. After a brief stalemate, his flesh met the slicing edge. The blade left a sword mark on his palm bone and then pierced through with a sharp trajectory, stabbing forward until it penetrated the white robe's body, and the blade emerged from the back. The sword's blade pierced through his body, and the first sensation was a bone-chilling cold, followed long after by excruciating pain. Inside, the sword chi raged, damaging organs and parts of small meridians. As blood surged, Chun Sansi couldn't contain it and vomited clotted blood. But Chao Kai's nearly depleted mana wasn't enough to crush the physical power of a true power middle-stage martial artist's body. The sword blade deviated by half an inch during the process, scraping past the heart, failing to kill in one blow. Idiots! Fools! Ling Kuei's flesh emitted the smell of charred meat under the roasting. His unfocused pupils stared at the elder Taoist for a final word. His head drooping powerlessly, smoke rising from his 7 orifices. Chun Sansi's hand reached forward holding the silver spear, grasping the front part of the shaft. He turned the long spear into a short weapon, his face contorted in a gruesome snarl, slashing the gun blade horizontally to cut open Ling Kuei's body, then howling as he swung towards the Emperor's throat. The gun gleam and sword shadows intersected. Clang! A crisp tremor rose. The two each floated back dozens of steps, crashing into the dense forest. Cough, cough! Chun Sansi supported himself with the long spear, holding the wound below his chest as he slowly stood up, looking at Ling Kuei's kneeling corpse not far away, curling his lips into a cold smile. Chao Kai, had Longqing been willing to block that strike for him, even if not dead, he would have been grievously injured. But just as he guessed, how could the self-serving emperor for 100 years be willing to shield a temporary ally? In this divine continent, no one's life is more important than mine. Having failed to achieve a decisive strike, the usually unperturbed elder face of Emperor Longqing finally showed ripples. That was anger pushed to the extreme. His talent buried for a century, through untold hardships, finally establishing the foundation for new longevity. How could he risk it for an outsider? Moreover, he and Shengyun's sect were only fleeting allies. Once the world was finally settled, they would have to play games against each other. If Chao Kai were severely injured here, even if he managed to kill the white robe, his side would surely strike while they were vulnerable. Without wasting words, the blood-soaked Chun Sansi charged forward with the long spear, Long Dan bright silver spear flashing solely with gun glimmers. Lacking mana, how could Chao Kai be a match? Struggling to parry a mere few blows, flaws abounded. Yet at that moment, sounds of cultivators' breakthroughs in the sky emerged above the dark forest. Protect the Emperor! Quick! Protect the Emperor! Through slanting tree shadows, they saw that including Dan Liangcheng, the surviving Shengyun sect cultivators, and the court's generals were arriving aboard flying boats. The frontline battlefield was already routed. Dan Liangcheng had managed with difficulty to break free from Lu Ji's entanglement, leading the remaining ones toward this site, only to witness this scene. Ling family's ancestor, Ling Kuei, had already perished. Both Chun Sansi and the Emperor were wounded. Protect the Emperor! Huang Hong shouted in panic. Dan Liangqing swung the mystic jade golden bamboo, and countless rolling stones and logs imbued with mana crashed from the sky, thoroughly engulfing the small silhouette of the white robe. They then took the Emperor aboard the flying boats. Boom! Chun Sansi's true power hadn't yet recovered, and only after several breaths did he manage to extricate himself from the pile of stones. But the others had already fled hundreds of meters away, while he still struggled to maintain skyflight. Fortunately, it wasn't only Longqing who had allies. He too had support. The numerous cultivators. Chun! Quick! Get on the cart! Huang Laojiu appeared beside on a donkey cart, waving the donkey whip. I won't let them escape alive! Chun Sansi uttered no words, merely getting onto the donkey cart to chase alongside, sitting cross-legged in the back enduring the injury to release, aiming to swiftly purge the lingering Nether River true power from his body and regain his strength. This time at Fei River, Chao Kai, no longer did the plains host dazzling Chapter 8. Due to the sheer number of people, countless were trampled to death in the chaos, with bodies piling up like mountains. The one-sided pursuit and massacre continued relentlessly for 7 days and 7 nights. The Fei River plain, surrounded by water on all sides, court soldiers attempting to flee the battlefield had to cross the river. In the process, countless died or were injured, staining the Fei River red with blood. Bodies, weapons, and armor accumulated, forming a bizarre dam that forcibly blocked the Fei River basin. Su Wenkai and Fang Qingyun stayed behind to direct, wrapping up the normal battle. During the subsequent escape of the court soldiers, every time they heard the sound of gales rustling through the trees or heard the cries of cranes in the mountains, they assumed ambushes were present, and their hearts were filled with fear until they completely gave up running and surrendered. Eventually, more than 10,000 were trampled to death by their comrades, over 20,000 were slaughtered, follow-up raids and ambushes were hard to calculate. After deducting the soldiers who escaped, 25,000 were captured in the end. Historical record. Old anniversary. 78th year of Longqing. 2nd day of March. A comet descended from the skies over the Fei River. King Bailiang immediately led his troops from Luojian to attack, and with a pincer movement with the Kunyang garrison, defeated the enemy. 10 days later, the Dragon Abyss Sword Chi still ravaged inside Chun Sansi's body. Only months of rest could heal it. However, the remaining Nether River true power inside had long been eradicated, and Chun Sansi continued to pursue despite his injuries. After that night, Emperor Longqing led the Shengyun sect cultivators, fleeing thousands of miles from the central plains all the way to the southern borders of Dashing. Only when Guiyuan sect spread news ahead, drawing out people from Nansu's Spirit Silence Cave to search, were they finally blocked at the border. After this, the Shengyun sect and others fled east, ultimately being forced into a remote area within the Yunzhou border to hide. On a narrow mountain path, Emperor Longqing and others, including cultivators, had to ride swiftly or walk quickly to avoid quick exposure. The Grand Dashing dynasty had already dwindled to just over 10, wandering into the wilderness. Thus, half a month passed. During this half-month, they fought day and night. Not only was their mana nearly exhausted, but even their elixir pills had vanished without a trace. At this moment, everyone was utterly exhausted and famished. Low-level cultivators could not achieve fasting, especially without spiritual energy in this world. After continuous fighting, they needed a substantial amount of food to replenish their chi blood, leaving them dazed and desperate for sustenance. Up ahead, Huang Hong pointed at the faintly visible village. Sire, look, there's a village ahead. Now, there are pursuers from all directions. Dan Liangcheng cautiously observed the surroundings. We must find a place to replenish our chi blood and discuss what to do next. Let's go. Everyone quickly, heading towards the village ahead. Altogether, there were more than a dozen people. Such a large group of outsiders quickly drew the attention of numerous villagers. Whether Prince Qin, Prince Qi, or cultivators of Shangyun sect, despite their plight, their elegant attire was still apparent, clearly distinguishing them from ordinary people. Where did these people come from? Python robe. Prince, Hear ye! The Chamberlain eunuch Huang Hong's loud voice rang. This is the dashing emperor, passing through in his battle with rebels, seeking some grain from you all. Anyone willing to provide food, especially meat, will receive commendation. They were too conspicuous, making hiding their identity unnecessary. Emperor? The one in Taoist robe is the emperor? Which emperor? For the people of the Shang dynasty, too much had happened over the past 2 years. Numerous wars had broken out, and how dare you? Huang Hong declared loudly. This is the true dashing emperor, Long Qing, Emperor Wan Shou. As for whom you call rightful, they are merely rebels. Long Qing. This man is Long Qing. The villagers shifted nervously, half believing. But if it was true, if even the emperor had fallen to such a state, did it mean that the court had ended? They had vaguely heard about the battles outside. Reportedly, the Bailiang king had reached the capital city, and now the emperor was here, implying he was fleeing. Good. A good almost slipped out. Did you not hear what we said? Huang Hong urged. Hurry and bring out food to honor the Lord and the immortal masters. We have no food. Yes. Fighting constantly. Where would we get food? All villagers were emaciated. Enough excuses. Prince Qin drew his sword in anger. Is there food? Behind him, many cultivators also showed. Seeing this, the villagers were at a loss. Folks, quickly, prepare some food for a young man with us. Under his persuasion, they finally managed to gather a basket of food. Although it was coarse grains, it was the only option for those who hadn't eaten properly in half a month. Since they didn't have fasting pills, they could reward. Emperor Longqing waved a sleeve. Huang Hong immediately took out several ingots of gold. Not necessary. The scholar raised his hand to refuse, calmly saying, Chapter 860. How could to act rashly is no blessing, and to accept rashly is not loyalty. The people, after speaking, this man calls you a true dragon descended, and says you are the Lord, providing us with grain without asking for returns. What a loyal subject. He looked, his expression contrasted sharply. Emperor Longqing's eyes, how can I face rule? Chun San has greatly wronged me. Every word was an insult to him. How could it be from heaven, plainly speaking, is to say one brought this upon oneself, deserving today's plight. Yet in this situation, leaving behind a bit of coarse grain and leaving, it's a yin-yang sarcasm, asking who is the father and who is the son now. Humiliate Father Emperor? Prince Qin gradually realized, I'll go and kill him right now. Enough. Emperor Longqing interrupted. How can I stoop to the likes of commoners? The small, dilapidated tile house had been abandoned for many years, with cobwebs and dust everywhere. On the wall, a nearly decayed recurve bow hung. Next, Prince Qi hesitantly said, where should we go? In one night, the million-strong army was reduced to ashes, and the civil and military officials were likely all captured. In a sense, the great Shang court had already fallen. Your Majesty, Dan Liangqing solemnly said, we have lost our advantage in the eastern continent. We should find an opportunity to break through to the ends of the earth, enter the heavenly water continent, and come to my Shengyun sect. Emperor Longqing silently denied. How could he not know what the other side was plotting? If he brought the Dragon Abyss Sword and Imperial Jade Seal to the heavenly water continent, it would be like flaunting gold bars in the market. But indeed now, in the eastern continent, they were out of options and nowhere to go. Emperor Longqing glanced around the room's surroundings and noticed the bow and arrows hanging on the wall again, asking, where are we now? In response to Father Emperor, I just inquired. Prince Qi said, this is Yanbian village in Piyang County, and Ding Prefecture, Yunzhou. Huang Hong recalled carefully, isn't this where Chan Sansi originated? Looking again at the bow and arrows on the wall, everyone in the room felt a chill in their hearts. This? Who lived here before? They had circled high above the eastern continent, and it turned out they had come to the White Robe's hometown, as if an invisible hand had drawn them to this place. Almost at the same moment, Noise erupted outside. They have caught up. Chun Sansi is leading the Guiyuan sex people and has caught up. Before they could react, a massive wave of mana surged from above, and spells rained down from the sky, blasting the already dilapidated house to pieces. The cultivators of Shangyun's sect, even if they wanted to leave, had no time, forced into a desperate resistance. The brutal battle erupted without warning. Your Majesty, leave first. In the next life, I will serve you again. Huang Hong, who had followed Long Qing since childhood, stepped forward. Chao Kai closed his eyes slightly, then turned into a streak of light and fled. But soon, he detected someone catching up from behind, and no matter how he accelerated or deployed blinding techniques, he couldn't stop the murderous intent from closing in. With the army defeated and fleeing for half a month, emotions mounted, and Emperor Long Qing could no longer maintain his usual grace and calm. He summoned the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss Sword, suddenly suspended. Must you force me to death? Chun Sansi wasted no words, only stepping on his flying sword, long spear in hand, charging forth, flames roaring from his orifices, the killing intent overwhelming the skies, voice shaking the clouds. Chao Kai! 6 years ago, for your longevity, you sacrificed the blood of millions in Yunzhou. Today, you have fallen here by fate, destined to be sacrificed for the common people. Do you think you can really kill me? Amidst the gale, Emperor Longqing's crown scattered, his hair flying wildly, eyes glaring like a true dragon enraged, his voice piercing the eardrums. Today I will use the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss to take the head of you, treacherous minister. Boom! As he finished speaking, waves of dark power burst forth from the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss sword, a force that was neither mana nor true power, but rather an obscure and profound strength. This is the national fortune of half the great Shang dynasty. In the beginning, great ancestor Chao Xie of the Shang dynasty obtained from an unknown source the method to refine national fortune and sealed half of Shang's national fortune within the Dragon Abyss sword, to be used as an earth-shattering strike in critical moments. But this is a one-time opportunity. Once used, the true decline of the Shang dynasty's fortune would begin, and trying to accumulate it again would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Because of this, during the Liangzhou blood sacrifice, Longqing hesitated until the moment before the completion of the blood sacrifice array, and during the Battle of Fei River, he was still reluctant to use it prematurely. But at this moment, Chao Kai finally made up his mind. He was going to use the ancestors of the Chao family and half of the Jiang Mountain in the sword to eliminate the greatest threat to the Shang dynasty's national destiny in the past 300 years. Rumble, the vast, limitless divine land, the flourishing central plains, half of Jiang Mountain. What a magnificent power this is! Even just exposing it caused the heavens to overturn. All the clouds in the 9 heavens gathered and formed a massive vortex connecting heaven and earth. This scene was visible to everyone on the eastern continent. Millions of living beings on the divine land witnessed with their own eyes the sky above them tipping over, as if someone had uprooted it. Such divine power, let alone a foundation establishment cultivator, even a golden core cultivator wouldn't dare confront it head-on. Chun Sansi, Chao Kai, filled with endless fury. You wasted a great opportunity for me. This half of Jiang Mountain was meant for the cultivators of the Sky-Water continent. You ruined the careful plan of an entire 60 years. You are unworthy of the world. You deserve death. Rumble. The heavenly dome collapses. Emperor Longqing, holding the sword in both hands, with the divine dragon emerging from the abyss, held the entire sky in its mouth and swung down with destructive might. In this critical moment, he saw a bead slowly rising in front of the white robe, containing indescribable dark power. Similar to the national fortune, yet different. The dark power within the bead, like chains, wrapped around the Dragon Abyss sword. It was actually competing for control of the Dragon Abyss sword. How is this possible? Chao Kai's expression froze. This is the Chao family's treasured item. How can it be affected by you? What is that bead in your hand? It seems now. The reason Chen Sansi could use the heavenly book array without borrowing nature's spiritual energy must be due to this object. But what exactly is this treasure? And where does its power come from? Chao Kai. As if seeing through Longqing's thoughts, Chen Sansi exerted all his strength to seize control of the dragon abyss. Veins bulging on his neck and forehead, his voice hoarse from shouting. These powers, they come from the common people. From the common people you regard as grass, as firewood, as livestock to be used as tributes. It is your deeds over 60 years that have personally buried your Jiang mountain and killed yourself. Without the common people, where does the national fortune come from? Today this sword is wielded by the countless people of Yunzhou, soldiers, and the people of the entire world, striking you along with me. Boom! With a thunderous sound. The endless, vast dark power from the bead finally broke the connection between the 7 stars dragon abyss sword and Chao Kai, spinning through the clouds into the hand of the white robe. Your dream of eternal life ends now. Chen Sansi gripped the sword's hilt with both hands, unable to perform any sword moves under the terrifying power, and thus raised half of Jiang Mountain high, crashing it down upon Emperor Longqing, the sword chi slicing the whole sky in half. Impossible, impossible. Traitor Chen, you still prattle. Emperor Longqing, even as he tried his best to retain it, lost Dragon Abyss. He looked at his empty hands, his expression turning mad, eyes wide open as he roared. Boom! The world turned upside down, the sea of clouds in turmoil. Under the pressure of half of Jiang Mountain, any resistance was futile. Emperor Longqing's meridians burst inch by inch, bones shattered inward, organs rupturing, as his body fell from the immense heavenly dome like a meteor, leaving a trail like smoke, crashing heavily onto Tiger Head Mountain, causing the earth to tremble. Chapter 866. The world is stabilized. Tiger Head Mountain. A star of the Emperor descended from beyond the 9 heavens, crashing onto the barren mountain top, causing the mountains to tremble and the earth to buzz, stirring up 10,000 feet of dust, like a sudden sandstorm appearing from nowhere. Following closely, a fiery meteor, carrying vast suppressive power, slowly pursued, finally hovering above the fallen Emperor star. Ha! Ha! Emperor Longqing's Taoist robe was in tatters, his flesh completely destroyed. Crimson blood gushed from his body, staining the Taoist robe and soaking the land of Yunzhou. His pupils were scattered as he stared at the heavens, continuously drawing in the chaotic chi of heaven and earth. Yet he could no longer release it. Within a few breaths, he was completely devoid of life. In the midair several meters above, Chen Sansi furrowed his brow. Something's wrong. Vaguely, he sensed a thread of eerie cold wind blowing past. Chen Sansi used the chi observation skill to scan the front, quickly spotting a faint figure fleeing ahead in the forest. This is Ain Soul. Bang! Flames erupted. Chen Sansi suddenly accelerated, in the blink of an eye, blocking the path of the Ain Soul. Fixing his gaze, the residual soul of Emperor Longqing appeared with disheveled hair, identical to the corpse on the ground, clutching the imperial jade seal, his expression already bordering on madness. He looked at the white robe in front of him, seemingly still unable to accept reality. Chen Sansi, Chao Kai shouted with eyes tearing. You keep saying you're doing it for the world, yet you shouldn't have killed me. This Jiang Mountain needs me to guard it. Do you not know there are many royal secrets in this world? Only I can solve them. Chen Sansi did not respond, just holding his spear, watching the frenzied state of Emperor Longqing, now like a demon gone berserk, with a blank expression. You! Chao Kai pointed at him, solemn and mystically serious, said, Listen to me. With the revival of the Mang Mountain ancestor vein, the heaven and earth seal will be shaken, and more high-level cultivators will flood into the divine continent. Without my assistance, you can't fend them off alone. And your master, he's my brother. I'm your elder. Your master holds the guardian badge. There must be great secrets behind him too. Only by cooperating can we unravel the mystery. Chan Sansi, no matter what you say, you shouldn't have killed me. I am useful, you need to rely on me. Buzz. Still no words. Only the dragon abyss sword in the white robe's hand let out a dragon's roar. The sword chi aggressively pressing. At this point, Emperor Longqing seemed to know there was no more path to life for him. He ceased his angry roars and fierce threats, instead laughed aloud facing his opponent. The laughter of the Een soul penetrated the soul, causing the birds and beasts in the forest to flee in terror. This laughter carried endless unwillingness and profound lament, after countless emotions stacked and blended together, eventually transforming into unbridled mocking laughter. Chan Sansi, today you wish to kill me, but do you know what will happen after I'm gone? Let me tell you. You, Chan Sansi, will ascend to the throne, sit on the dragon chair of the great Ming Palace, and become the new emperor. From the moment you sit on the dragon chair, an invisible demon seed will manipulate you, bringing you unrest from that point on. Your brothers will grow estranged from you, your descendants will become distant, and your servants will scheme against you. One day you will become a solitary soul like me. One day, when faced with the choice of life or death, you will make the same choice as I did. You simply don't understand what I've borne. Clang! The dragon abyss sword was unleashed. The burning sky fire swept through, completely obliterating the last remnants of the dashing emperor's Een soul, scattering into the hot wind, returning to the soil, returning to the heavens, returning to the flora of Yunzhou, offering tribute to millions of departed souls. I don't want to be emperor, nor do I care to hear your sophistry. Chan Sansi stood with his sword in the wind, his hair fluttering, his robe billowing. All that was left in his sight was the desolate earth and a suspended emerald-green jade seal. He grabbed it with one hand, intending to return to Yanbian village to wrap things up, but suddenly his mind was shocked. A bone-chilling coldness emanated from his spine. His hair stood on end, feeling like he was falling into an ice cave. Fire element! Boom! The scorching, burning sky fire erupted once more. Flames spouted from Chan Sansi's 7 orifices. The long-dan bright silver spear Dragon Abyss! The 7 stars Dragon Abyss sword glowed golden. Its surface still held residual fortunes of the dashing nation, shining brightly, its sword chi blinding to the eye. Imperial Jade Seal! The emerald square jade seal soared skyward, emitting mysterious light that commands the Jiang Mountain. The feeling of falling into an ice cave did not fade. This was the first time Chan Sansi felt death looming so close. The Xianzhu from his chest rose like a sun, and within its depths, a gleam of green gleamed brightly. All magic, forbidden. White Robe wielded the fire dragon in one hand and the dragon abyss in the other, with the imperial jade seal by his side and Xuanzhu's green light in front of him. Until then, the cold, rigid breath of death finally receded. In front of Chan Sansi, an old farmer with a simple, honest face and coarse clothing smiled warmly at him, his missing front teeth making him seem exceedingly sincere. Chun, fellow Taoist. Huang Laojiu chuckled. Sorry for the delay. Is there anything else this old man can help with? Longqing is already dead. Chan Sansi looked directly into the other's aged, clouded eyes, so obscure that the depths couldn't be seen, and said word by word, No need for you, elder, to worry yourself. Good, good, that's good. Huang Laojiu withdrew his smile, his voice hoarse. Then this old man will go elsewhere to see if any fish slipped through the net. As he spoke, he waved his donkey whip, steering the donkey cart. Chapter 867. It was only after confirming the other party had gone far that Chan Sansi finally felt a sense of relief, leaning heavily against the tree trunk, his long robe already soaked, and the remnants of sword chi from the dragon abyss still raging inside him, pushing him to his limits in every aspect. Fortunately, he had been on guard all along. He picked up the imperial jade seal, flipped it over by its 5 dragon cross knob, and looked at the 8 large characters engraved on the bottom. Endowed by heaven, and long-enduring it shall be. This jade seal, under no circumstances can it fall into the hands of others, because it can resist the heaven and earth seal. If a cultivator from the Sky-Water continent obtains it, High Realm cultivators would then be free to enter and leave the eastern continent, which would mean everything was in vain. Chao Kai is dead. The great Qing dynasty's Jiang Mountain will likely be pacified within a year, but many subsequent matters still require long-term planning. Chen Sansi, bracing against his internal injuries, rose into the air, heading towards Yanbian village. Before Longqing's death, the Guiyuan sect will not harm him, as they are still considered allies. This is also the Guiyuan sect's overt scheme. Either he or Longqing must die before they are willing to act. Earlier, there was no actual prohibition tactic. The things left by Mr. May to this day, Chen Sansi still does not know how to use. But the items are real, and that is enough. This was also the best choice Chen Sansi could make based on the intelligence provided by the Yunding Palace. Even the concealment of heavenly secrets has its limits. As long as it could make the opponent apprehensive, they would certainly not dare to act at the risk of death and path extinction. But there are still many matters that need to be dealt with afterward. The cultivators' combat has also ended, and the Shangyun sect's cultivators have been completely annihilated. The eunuch Huang Hong was killed in battle, Prince Qi was captured alive, and only the heavily injured Prince Qin was still fleeing around, with everyone searching everywhere. Hey! Look quickly. The one flying in the sky, is that little stone? It really seems to be. The villagers looked up at the heavenly dome, seeing a familiar figure. Is that person Chen Sansi? Back then, 10 days after Yunzhou, the refugees fleeing from Piyang returned to their homeland one after another, and some wandering people from other places came to settle down nearby. Throughout the Yinding prefecture, the most famous place now is Piyang County, because everyone knows that 6 years ago, a hunter from the mountains here became the now world-renowned Bailiang king, the only aliased king since the establishment of the Great Shang dynasty, commanding under his leadership 20,000 Bailiang iron cavalry, sworn brothers with the Chao family of the imperial family, reaching the pinnacle of power among ministers, and even building an ancestral temple beside the temple. When in history has a remote place like Piyang produced such a figure? So much so that in recent years, everyone in Piyang takes pride in the hunter profession, with young people vying to practice archery, enlist in the military, and some even packing their bags, journeying alone to Bailiang to join the army, almost becoming characters out of stories and folk tales. No one would have thought they could still see the true figure of the white robe with their own eyes. Hey, little stone! Look how clumsy you are! Under a big tree, a middle-aged man with an ugly face shouted up to the sky. Chen Sansi landed beside him and said, "Uncle Lai Zi, do you know where Prince Qin is?" "Sure do." Zhang Lai pointed ahead not far away. "Isn't he the one tall and strong, wearing a python robe?" "He ran to hide in the cellar of Old Man Li's house." "Good. Thank you, Uncle Lai Zi." Chen Sansi cupped his fists, then rose into the air again. "Hey, leaving already? Not even arranging a position for your uncle to hold office?" Zhang Lai craned his neck to look around. "Lai Zi, do you know Prince Chen?" Some displaced people newly settled in Piyang were quite amazed. "Nonsense." Zhang Lai patted his chest and said, "Back then, I went to the battlefield with Little Stone, and many of his strategies were planned by me. Every day he still has to call me uncle." "Huh? Lai Zi, you're just boasting." Immediately, an old villager from Yanbian village exposed him. The villagers jeered all around. On the other side, following Zhang Lai's guidance, Chen Sansi found the destination and, after opening the cellar lid, a sword glow immediately flashed to stab at his heavenly spirit, which he caught easily with one hand, effortlessly breaking the blade. Chen the hunter, Prince Qin, disheveled, roared with bloodshot eyes, charging forward. "I'll fight you to the death." Without a word, Chen Sansi ended his life with a punch. With Prince Qin's death, Yanbian village was as good as clean. He did not linger any longer and didn't go to rendezvous with the Guyuan sect people but flew straight to Yu State to find the Bailiang army, intending to deal with the remaining troops. On March 18th, the first year of Orthodox Anno Domini, the Battle of Fei River came to an end, and the troops under Orthodox and the Bailiang army began moving south and eastward and sweeping westward. In less than 2 months, the Great Shang was pacified. Upon learning that even Emperor Longqing was executed, Dongqing, Nansu, and even West Qi avoided the white robe with a reverential awe, and no one dared to act recklessly anymore. Even sects like the Spirit Silence Cave had people gradually withdraw, preparing to report back to the Sky-Water continent and waiting for further decisions. By the end of May, the Guyuan sect began their beheading operations against Dongqing, Nansu, and West Qi, and with the loss of Cultivator's protection, the emperors of the 3 countries died one after another, with the Prince of West Qi offering a scroll pledging allegiance, and the other 2 nations on the brink of collapse. In June, the Bailiang army sweeps across 10 states, stabilizing the world situation. By the end of June, the Orthodox Emperor, along with civil and military officials, moved into capital Chang'an and, after ancestral worship at the temple, officially moved into the Great Ming Palace to reside, while the Bailiang army continued to clear the northern regions. From then on, with the Fei River Basin as the dividing line, the north was under the actual control of Bailiang, while the south was controlled by the court. Chapter 868. Zhongjua Hall. After the court meeting ended, Emperor Chao Huan, accompanied by close ministers and Guyuan sect cultivators, entered the hall to discuss the upcoming national deployments. Your Majesty, Shangguan Haichong was the first to speak. Though the surface suggests the war is over, the state of the realm remains precarious. The Bailiang king commands an army of over 300,000. The territory he controls stretches from the Luotian mountain range in the north to the Fei River Basin in the south, encompassing half of the empire. Even for a vassal prince with a different surname, possessing so many states is unheard of. Chun Sansi himself is now resting with over 80,000 troops of the Bailiang army in Ba County, not far from the capital city, Chang'an, so we cannot afford to be careless. Indeed, Your Majesty, Minister of War Ming Qingfeng added, the Battle of Fei River involved invoking the stars. Such a heavenly ability, if unchecked, will eventually lead to great trouble. And there's also the Jade Seal. Other officials chimed in. Chun Sansi personally assassinated the late emperor. Since then, he hasn't surrendered either the Dragon Abyss Sword or the Imperial Jade Seal, indicating his rebellious intentions. Dear ministers, Emperor Chao Huan spoke worriedly. Given your insights, what should our next course of action be? I stand by my previous statement. Even though Your Majesty trusts the Bailiang king as a brother, one must always remain vigilant. Shangguan Haichong said, I dare to propose 3 strategies. First, order Chun Sansi to hand over the 7 Stars Dragon Abyss Sword and the Imperial Jade Seal immediately. Second, Your Majesty shall issue an edict ordering him to send his eldest son, Chun Due, to the capital city to study alongside the princes. Third, redirect his forces eastward to attack Qing country. Absolutely not. King Yen, Chao Ji, rushed to Zhongjua Hall and immediately rejected the suggestions. Royal brother, this man yields to gentleness but not force. Years ago, due to the late emperor forcing him into the capital, it sparked the Bailiang rebellion. Now, although he holds significant military power, he hasn't turned against the court yet. We can only negotiate, not coerce. 12th brother speaks rightly. Chao Huan replied with righteous conviction. Chun Sansi is my brother. Anyone among you who accuses him of treason, attempting to sow discord between us, I shall execute immediately. However, the issue of appropriately placing my brother indeed poses a significant challenge. Royal brother, King Yen, Chao Ji, suggested, let me go with the immortal masters of the Guyuan sect to handle the situation.
No.
Emperor Chao Huan stood and declared, to express sincerity, I will personally go, lest anyone miscommunicates my intentions, thus displeasing my brother. 12th brother, please immediately invite the immortal masters here. and escort me to meet the Bailiang King to discuss the consequential matters of the realm. One of the 3 palaces in the imperial city, Taiji Palace. The cultivators from the Guiyuan sect were temporarily residing here, also deliberating how to manage their relationship with the Bailiang King. Let us not forget. Qian Qiren took a deep breath. After all, he is a disciple of Sun Xiangzong, and the so-called guardian is by no means a favorable legacy. Years ago, it was Sun Xiangzong who destroyed a spirit vein at the ends of the earth. Indeed, and this person possesses numerous treasures. Other cultivators echoed. If he is left unchecked, he might even seize the entire ancestor vein. Relying on the heaven and earth seal, we are rendered helpless. But we genuinely have no means to subdue him. Currently, with the Dragon Abyss sword and the Imperial Jade seal in his possession, coupled with a true power middle stage cultivation, who can contend with him? Elder Huang. Everyone turned to the old cultivator in the corner of the courtyard, sitting on a mule cart, sipping yellow wine. Over the past 2 months, Huang Laojiu had mysteriously preferred to hide alone, pondering unknown matters. Old Huang, some cultivators shouted directly. They had no idea of Elder Huang's seniority, as he usually wasn't pretentious, so they straightforwardly addressed him as such. Hiss! Huang Laojiu sipped the mundane, impure, and bitter yellow wine, his face lined with crevices expressing slight distress. What is that? What is that trace of clean energy? Eastern continent. How many treasures exist exactly? Dragon Abyss, Jade Seal, and even Xianzhu. Especially within the Xianzhu, that peculiar Qingxian energy chills one to the bone. Alas, suppressed by sealing. In a normal state, Huang Laojiu could only reveal his qi refining cultivation, lacking time to employ advanced investigation magic for sensing. However, that lad hasn't initiated a pursuit, indicating he doesn't dare misuse his powers. Both sides were in a stalemate, much like an army confrontation, neither side making moves. Old Huang. Qian Qiren waved his hand in front of him. What are you pondering? We're anxious about what to do if Chen Sansi suddenly turns hostile. No. Huang Laojiu regained focus, showing his missing front teeth, and confidently said, he won't turn against us. Oh, Qian Qiren was taken aback. How can you be so sure? With this old man here, Huang Laojiu stated calmly. He must give some face. You, Qian Qiren skeptically said, with just your second-tier array? Taoist Qian. Cui Zhichen quickly reminded, do not disrespect Elder Huang. No problem, old Huang doesn't hold grudges. Qian Qiren said, shall we leave then? To talk with Chen Sansi, as long as we drag on for years until the ancestor vein revives or find alternative methods bypassing the eastern continent's seal, he would pose no threat to us. Procrastination. This was the best strategy the Guiyuan sect had devised. An hour later, they escorted Emperor Chao Huan, flying through the sky, to seek the Bailiang King. Ba County. After the Battle of Fei River, the Bailiang army reassembled and handled regional remnants, ultimately temporarily settling the central army here, where Chen Sansi also nursed his injuries in the city. Chapter 869. The strike of the Dragon Abyss injured the Meridians, and merely 2 months are not enough to heal. My lord! The person from the capital city has come looking for you. Within the county magistrate's residence, in the hall, Chen Sansi hosted a banquet to meet them. Dear brother, after a few rounds of wine, the rightful Emperor Chao Huan got to the point. Now that the world is settled, I wonder what your plans are for the future? Oh, dear brother, do not misunderstand me. I am not here to take anything away from you. The Dragon Abyss sword, the Jade seal, I will temporarily entrust them to you, for I trust you. Moreover, I intend to grant you all the territory of the northern 5 states as fiefdom, and in the future you may freely enter the capital to accompany me. Come and go as you please, no one shall stop you. With just a few words, he took the high ground in many aspects. Chao Huan did not ask for any war spoils, not even the Imperial Jade seal, and allowed free access to the capital city. The saying goes, don't hit a smiling face. Moreover, he is the emperor. After Emperor Longqing's death, Cao Kai truly became the rightful emperor. The emperor treating his servants in such a way can be said to be as heavy as a mountain. But, sounds nice, rewarding with 5 states land. The implication is actually a hope that the other party will give up the Central Plains territory, obediently lead troops back to Bailiang, and serve as the Bailiang king. All right, Chun Sansi calmly said. 10 days later, I will lead the troops back to Bailiang, allowing the world to recover and rejuvenate. However, before that, I have a few ungracious requests. Dear brother, please speak. First, there must be no more spiritual grain in the divine continent, and secondly, Chun Sansi raised many issues regarding the livelihood of the people, including spiritual grain, taxes, and other conditions. For these, Chao Huan had little objection and agreed to most of them readily. The negotiation proceeded surprisingly smoothly. The rightful Emperor Chao Huan also had a clear understanding. He needed the Bailiang king. Without the Bailiang king, he would have no means to restrain the Guiyuan sect, so he would definitely not turn against them in the short term. In just half a day, everything was settled. On the surface, it appeared to be harmonious and joyful, as if the white robe was truly like brothers with the Chao family. At dusk on that day, the rightful emperor happily left Ba County to return to Chang'an. After everyone had left, Chun Sansi leaned over the desk, uncommonly pouring himself a drink and drinking alone, staring into the night outside the window lost in thought. For him, many things were not important as long as he could ensure being the number 1 in the world, he could maintain peace. But just after eliminating Longqing, came the Guiyuan. Today during the banquet that Huang Laojiu seemed to be casually eating and drinking, but in reality it was merely a threat in itself. Neither side was confident enough to solve the other, so they could only take a step back. The Guiyuan sect retained Chun Sansi's military power, while Chun Sansi gave the Guiyuan sect the chance to approach the ancestor vein. Next, time needed to be seized. Chun Sansi understood that the other party wished to delay time, and wasn't he intending the same, if temporarily put on hold? After returning to Bailiang, the first thing Chun Sansi needed to do was find a way to lure Huang Laojiu into making a move, to render the treasure that shields the heavenly secret useless. According to intelligence, this person only had one chance to strike, after which the treasure that shields the heavenly secret would lose its function. This is also why Huang Laojiu did not dare to strike on Tiger Head Mountain, because he feared the Dragon Abyss, Xianzhu, and other items on him, worried that if one strike failed, there would be no more opportunities. Secondly, Chun Sansi needed to deal with the ancestor vein. The revival of the ancestor vein is an unstoppable event. In the future, if he cannot consistently suppress the eastern continent, he would rather destroy it than let the cultivators enter smoothly. However, the method to destroy the ancestor vein still requires seeking clues from the relics left by his master. Perhaps the 4th senior brother knows something. Meanwhile, outside Ba County, the camp of the Bailiang army, the central army tent. Today's conversation during the banquet between the emperor and the Bailiang king had already reached the ears of the various generals in Bailiang. What? Withdraw? We've been fighting for years. We finally took the Central Plains, and why should we withdraw back to Bailiang for the Chao family? No way. We absolutely cannot leave. Chapter 870, Clothed in Yellow. Inside the main tent, after enduring hardships for so long, the war is finally nearing its end. The Bailiang generals rarely gathered here for a drink, but halfway through, news of today's events in the county town reached them. Crack! Why? Some of the more hot-tempered generals flipped the table, and the sound of smashing wine bowls and shattering porcelain jars was incessant. For nearly 3 years, 3 years, we've fought our way from Bailiang to the Fei River. Have we ever had a good meal or a good night's sleep? Now the war is over, and the Chao family waves us away just like that? Where in the world is there such an easy outcome? Absolutely right. Today he sends us back to Bailiang, and tomorrow will he start reducing our power? Back during the 10 days in Yunzhou, how many border brothers died? And at Guandu, almost killed the commander. The guts and heart of the Chow family members. It's all pitch black. Damn them. I won't agree. I won't agree either. What's up with the commander? How can he stand this? Brother, you're confused. Chung Wei slowly put down the wine bowl in his hand, muttering. Through the ages, has there ever been a vassal king owning 5 states who could coexist peacefully with the court? Especially being an aliased king. Even if he calls us brothers, he's still a Chun. Perhaps. Yi Fengxiu hugged the sword sheath. Brother, are you worried about the Guiyuan sect? I think we should mind nothing. Wang Ji cursed and swore. With things as they are, we can only advance, not retreat. If we go back to Bailiang, we'll have to fight for the Central Plains all over again. How many brothers will die then? Isn't that right, Old Fourth? Hey, where's Old Fourth? Where's Old Su? Weren't the 2 of them here just now? No way. Get them back here. We must clear up this matter today. The silent night is deep. The faint light shimmers. The cold moon sinking. In a corner of Ba County. A courtyard pavilion, beneath countless pear blossoms. Cough, cough, cough. The intermittent coughing mixed with the sound of chess pieces falling. Very distinct in the quiet night. A green-robed scholar and an old scholar with a feather fan played chess under the trees by moonlight. Today's matter. Fang Qingyun spoke halfway, gasped for a long time, then continued, What do you think? We can't leave. Su Wenkai said somewhat worriedly. If we leave, who knows how the situation will change as things stand? Bailiang can only move forward and not back. Of course, I understand the logic the commander surely understands as well. Surely, the commander has his own concerns. If it is about cultivation, I truly lack the ability to ease his worries. I know what he's worried about, but even without this event, given his nature, he might not be willing to go to Chang'an. That's what we discussed last time. Push him if needed. Fang Qingyun heavily placed another chess piece. Mr. Su, you win. Hiss. Su Wenkai took a deep breath. Mr. Fang, the way you play chess is truly risky, almost a life-for-life gamble, barely winning by half a piece. But if I had found out, you'd have lost. Winning by half a piece is still winning, right? Fang Qingyun ended the chess game, speaking calmly. This time at Guiyuan sect, it will be, the mantis stalks the cicada, unaware of the yellow sparrow behind. Let me chase away the yellow sparrow, he said, laying out his plan. How can this work? Su Wenkai stood up abruptly. Calm down. Listen to me first. Fang Qingyun coughed lightly twice. Now, the brothers' martial arts are refined and the troops are ample. But towards achieving great deeds, there are still 2 deficiencies. Indeed. Su Wenkai picked up the feather fan and lightly swayed it. Chow family's 6th son, over the past 2 years, has emulated the commander to remove the spiritual grain, and after ascending, granted amnesty to the world, further touted by the Chow family's golden reputation. The Shang dynasty, no matter how decadent now, has indeed nurtured talents for 300 years. Added to this time around, Chow's 6th son neither stripped military power nor kept hostages in the capital city, even leaving the imperial symbols of the dynasty seal and dragon abyss sword with the commander, claiming temporary safekeeping. This whole procedure left no grounds for uprising, truly without righteous cause. If forced, whether the world agrees or not aside, how it affects the enigmatic national destiny is indeed hard to say. Throughout history, emperors have pursued legitimacy, seeking the true acquisition of the nation, certainly with reasons. Until now, Su Wenkai finally awakened why even observing the stars at night, the fall of the old emperor, the new Ziwei emperor from Bailiang, might not sit upon the 5 emperors constellation, ultimately lacking something metaphysical. So, Su Wenkai furrowed his brow. Mr. Fang plans to use 1 stone to kill 2 birds? Ensuring a justified uprising and shaping a nation's destiny, while driving away the yellow sparrow, freeing the commander from concerns. He suddenly realized the meaning of the green-robed scholar's final chess match. The strategist enters the game personally. His move alters destiny by half a piece. Impossible. Su Wenkai heavily put down the feather fan, squinting his eyes slightly. This matter, let me, Mr. Su, handle it. Just a humble Pyong man and a mortal at that. If my life can create a nation's destiny, it's nothing less than everlasting fame. Brother Wenkai, are you seeking to do mundane deeds of a mundane person? Cough, cough. Fong Qingyun tugged at his pale lips. Fong is close to his end. Defeating the Tianshui cultivators with a dying body? Isn't it exhilarating? If Brother Wenkai mentions this again, I'll assume you're trying to steal credit. Let the world think Wolong surpasses Phoenix. Su Wenkai said seriously, Are you all prepared, sir? Chapter 871. Back in Yulon capital, I heard from a cultivator named Chen Qiren, and was prepared for it then. Fong Qingyun nodded and said, Combining the intelligence from Yunding Palace, I have a 90% certainty. It is a task only I can handle. Silence fell over the courtyard. After a long time, Su Wenkai sat back down. Under no circumstances can my junior know about this. Otherwise, it will not succeed this. Fong Qingyun produced a letter and left behind a jade flute, speaking calmly. After I leave, Brother Wenkai, please pass these to our junior. All right. Su Wenkai carefully accepted the items. Mr. Fong doesn't plan to speak with the gentleman again.
No.
Fong Qingyun gently shook his head. Secrets, when not kept, lead to disaster. As they spoke, a commotion was heard outside. Sir, Wolong disciple Chi Chang hurried over. Many generals from the army have come outside demanding to see both of you, seemingly due to today's incident. Let them in. Shortly, the yard was filled with a bustling crowd, all military generals clad in armor, swords and daggers at their waists. After restructuring and expansions, the Bailiang army now boasts 300,000 troops, implying at least 30 main generals, excluding Lu Ji and others leading external forces. Nearly all are gathered here. Have you heard about today's events? Old Su, the Chow family wants us to withdraw the troops. Can we agree to this? Absolutely not. Does the Chow family still want to lord over us forever? Disgusting. Old Fourth, Wang Ji spoke boldly. We must not forget how Chow Kai treated our master before. Now Chow Lu Lang feigns politeness only because he's not strong enough and doesn't dare to turn hostile. He's exactly like Chow Kai. Indeed, Chang Wei chimed in. He has the support of Guiyuan sect. Who knows what he might be plotting behind our backs? Even if not for ourselves, we should think of the Bailiang brothers. Old Fourth, Rong Yanxiu said, Aren't you going to make a decision quickly? Ha ha. Su Wenkai stood up. Gentlemen, please calm down. A plan is already in place. In place? What plan? Directly march to Chang'an? Fong Qingyun and Su Wenkai exchanged a glance, neither in a hurry to speak. Hey, what are you two hiding? If you don't tell us your plan soon, we'll go straight to the commander. No matter what, we will not withdraw the troops. Little Chengzi. Su Wenkai waved. Go. Bring over the items from my study. Chi Cheng immediately complied. Within the time it takes to brew tea, he returned to the courtyard, carrying a wooden box locked with a copper lock. That broken box again. Feng Yong muttered. You carry it everywhere these 2 years. Who knows what treasure is inside and how it relates to the current affair? It really does relate. Su Wenkai gently shook the feather fan. And it's a solution that resolves the issue once and for all, ensuring no one can cause trouble for Bailiang again. That amazing? What's inside? Why didn't you bring it out earlier? You'll know at a glance, Su Wenkai said, tossing out a key. Mysterious. Wang Ji took the key, dismissively saying, Let me see if it's truly that mysterious. Knock. The key opened the copper lock. The lid creaked open, revealing what's inside. Oh my! Wang Ji's body shuddered. What is this? The generals crowded around, craning their necks to look. Whoever saw clearly immediately tightened their expressions and shut their mouths quietly. The courtyard, once noisy, fell completely silent within a few breaths. Eventually, it was Su Wenkai who broke the silence. "Gentlemen, what do you think?" "Good. Very good." Wang Ji was first to slam the table. "Indeed a good idea." "That's right," Zhao Kong shouted passionately. "Only this way will no one bully us Bailiang army anymore. That Chao family? They're damn nonsense. Long overdue, long overdue." The generals from Pyong emerged first in agreement. "I agree too," Cheng Wei said thoughtfully. "Since whomever becomes emperor will suspect Bailiang, this emperor should better be our junior." Rong Yanqiu nodded. "Indeed, our junior should take the role." After careful consideration, the senior brotherhood expressed willingness to support. Finally, the rest of the Bailiang generals, both seasoned and newcomers, raised no objections. Regardless if successful, it would be a great benefit for them. Be it serving as soldiers under the Bailiang king, or imperial guards under the emperor, which choice will favor future prospects was clear in everyone's hearts. Moreover, this is an achievement in support of sovereignty. Only, Yi Fengxiu, usually silent, spoke. "Our junior might not willingly accept." "Indeed." Cheng Wei rubbed his chin. "Today's negotiation with Chao Lulang can actually be seen as our junior proactively withdrawing from the Central Plains. Had he not withdrawn, who could have done anything to us? Since he agreed to retreat, he likely holds no ambition for the throne." "Perhaps," Senior Sister 9, Rong Yanqiu pondered, "we should go talk to our junior?" "The gentleman won't agree," Su Wenkai interrupted. "That's why I waited for all you generals to gather today. Such matters shouldn't be initiated by the gentleman." "Indeed, indeed. I heard there's supposed to be a ritual of thrice refusing and thrice accepting. Isn't that how the old histories are written?" Chapter 872. Mr. Fong. "Then tell us, what should we do next?" Su Wenkai pondered for a moment and then slowly said, 7 days later, before we withdraw the army, we will hold a celebration banquet in Ba County at that time. County government. Chun Sansi temporarily stayed here, day and night channeling his cultivation technique to recover his body, continually expelling the residual sword chi within to recover as quickly as possible. After this, he still had many things to do, including cultivation, returning to Guyuan sect, and various governmental affairs once back in Bailiang. Waging war is a complex lesson, and governing the world is no different. All the petitions and governmental affairs of the 5 states in Bailiang, when piled up, would be like small mountains and would take up an unknown amount of cultivation time. For him, handling 5 states was already the extreme he was willing to accept. It would be impossible to waste any more time on them. The vast lands of the Central Plains were truly beyond his capacity to manage. Upon returning to Bailiang, he also intended to cultivate more civil servants of integrity and capability to properly rectify the administration. In seclusion for recovery, 7 days passed in a flash. For a mortal, it takes at least 100 days to heal bones and muscles, and a cultivator's meridian injuries also require long recovery periods. Although Chun Sansi's injuries had not fully healed, fortunately, they no longer affected his combat strength. For now, that was enough, and the remaining internal injuries could only be slowly healed through rest. Ha! He exhaled a breath of turbid air and slowly opened his eyes. This major battle lasted nearly 3 years, from Bailiang to the Fei River, and many of its spoils had not yet been fully assessed, such as various cultivation techniques and magic artifacts. Of course, among these many items, the most important were the Dragon Abyss Sword and the Imperial Jade Seal. This Dragon Abyss Sword had already lost the national destiny of the great Qing dynasty that once dwelled within and erased any connection with the Chao family's bloodline, now truly belonging to him as a weapon. Imperial Jade Seal. Chun Sansi had also carefully inspected it, and indeed it concealed a profound and mysterious power, capable of resisting the suppression of the Heaven and Earth Seal, and it could be used as a magic artifact in daily life. These two are both supreme treasures. Yet it's worth mentioning that, Neither the Dragon Abyss Sword nor the Imperial Jade Seal were created by the Great Shang Dynasty. The Seven Stars Dragon Abyss Sword originates from over 4,000 years ago, with scarce records from the Great Zhou. The Imperial Jade Seal came from the Great Qin over 2,000 years ago. These items have existed in the Eastern continent not for just a short time, always circulating among various dynasties, passing through countless emperors. But never has anyone utilized them to their true purpose like Chao Kai, as if Dragon Abyss and the Imperial Seal were merely symbols of orthodoxy. Their functions were truly redeveloped by Grand Ancestor Chao Xie, and what secret lies within that is still unknown, especially the Seven Stars Dragon Abyss Sword. Chao Xie was actually able to refine half of the Jiang Mountain's national fortune into a single sword and seal it within the sword. You must know that national fortune is such a profound and mysterious existence that ordinary people cannot see or touch, let alone refine it. Was Chao Xie really just a qi refinement or foundation establishment cultivator? If not, then why did he pass away so early? Or perhaps, sir, lost in thought, the voice from outside interrupted Chun Sansi's contemplation. Sir, the time is almost up. Everyone is waiting for you. Chun Sansi looked at the bright sky outside the window and recalled that today seemed to be the day for the celebration banquet. The battle had lasted nearly 3 years, and it was finally at a halt. Logically and emotionally, they should celebrate a little and have a good drink with his brothers. He quickly tidied up some things, then went to the military camp outside Ba County. A celebration banquet for over 80,000 people was truly a magnificent sight, with food and drink spread across the ground. The soldiers enjoying themselves. The scene was very lively. Salute to the commander! Salute to the commander! Wherever Chun Sansi passed, the soldiers stood up and saluted. He did not stop, proceeding straight to the vicinity of the Central Army tent, where over 80% of the corps generals were gathered, and the scent of wine and meat wafted over from hundreds of steps away. Salute to the commander! Brothers, there's no need to be formal, Chun Sansi said calmly. This celebration banquet lasts 3 days. Brothers drink freely and eat heartily. If the meat isn't enough, I'll personally lead a hunt for you. Want tiger meat? You'll get tiger meat. Want bear heart? You'll get bear heart. Commander, you must drink with us until we drop. Yes, yes. Look, brother, here's the spiritual wine I confiscated from the Shangyun sect cultivator. That damn thing knocked out old two with 1 sip. Seems only you can drink it. Okay. Chun Sansi agreed heartily. We won't leave until we're drunk. He arrived at the Central Army tent and took a seat at the commander's position, raising a bowl filled with spiritual wine and drank heartily with everyone present. Among those present were Su Wenkai, Fang Qingyun, and others. The 4th senior brother was also delighted, but his expression grew increasingly worse. Chun Sansi's expression was slightly solemn. He made a mental note, planning to set off towards the Sky-Water continent someday soon to see if he could find a cure. Commander, after 3 rounds of drinking, several civil servants spoke up. Are we really planning to withdraw the troops next? Indeed, Commander. The military officers followed up, asking. Back then, our brothers fought hard to break out from Bailiang and make it here. Chun Sansi was already mentally prepared for his subordinates' questions. On the contrary, if they didn't ask, he would find it odd. Brothers, Chun Sansi said in a deep voice, our initial uprising was to destroy the immortal, eliminate the treacherous. Now the world's spiritual grain has been eradicated, and the Yen Party and other traitors are imprisoned, awaiting execution soon. We have accomplished our mission, and the people have suffered from the long-standing war. It's time for this realm to recuperate and restore. Brothers, you can return to Bailiang and reunite with your families. It's a good thing. His viewpoint remained unchanged. Present, nothing is more important than cultivation. Chun Sansi needed to remain the top in the divine continent to deter all threats. He also had to deal with the Ancestor Vein and Guiyuan sect matters. Going to the Sky-Water continent to seek medicine, he also needed to pay close attention to these 2 matters. Today's banquet is a celebration, not a discussion of military affairs. Su Wenkai stood up, signaling the generals to change the subject. Drink. Let's drink. Usually, our military discipline is strict, and drinking is not allowed. If we don't drink our fill today, we will miss this chance. Ha ha ha. The strategist is right. Indeed, let's drink. Commander, I toast to you. Will you drink or not? Chun Sansi held the spiritual wine and accompanied them to the end, unknowingly drinking 7 or 8 jars from morning till late at night. This spiritual wine was a top-notch first rank, with some potency even for him. Of course, for Chun Sansi, he could use his cultivation to dissipate it at any time. Yet, after so many years of war, he rarely had time to rest, so he maintained a slight drunkenness and stayed until late at night, until his brothers in the tent were exhausted and drunk, lying sprawled on the ground. Only then did Chun Sansi put down the wine bowl, leaving a sliver of consciousness to sense danger, to prevent any surprise attacks, and then fell into a deep sleep. He hadn't had a good sleep in a long time. Since coming to this realm, Chun Sansi had been walking on thin ice, and from scrambling to gather enough tax silver to practicing martial arts and fighting battles, he had never rested a day. In his sleep, everything around was very quiet, so quiet that it seemed there were no disturbances anymore. But he knew in his heart, after awakening, countless matters awaited, so he deliberately woke up a bit later than usual. Where is everyone? Chun Sansi wasn't sure how long he had slept, but when he raised his head again, the central army tent was empty. The main generals of various camps and his senior brothers and sisters had disappeared, leaving behind the aftermath of the drinking feast. Ugh! Chun Sansi slowly got up. The pull of his sword wound made him frown slightly. Enough! In the next 2 days, I won't accompany them anymore. Recover fully first, and then head to the Sky-Water continent. Thinking this, Chun Sansi walked towards the tent's entrance, and suddenly, through the Qi observation skill, he saw that outside, there were dense amounts of Qi. It seemed as if all the soldiers were neatly arranged outside. By right, gathering together after a 3-day grand banquet was normal, but outside, it was exceptionally quiet, almost deathly silent. One might have thought there were hidden troops, but for the current Chun Sansi, no matter the number of ordinary hidden troops, they couldn't harm him even slightly. What are these people doing? Whoosh! The Bailiang king lifted the curtain, and a gust of cool wind blew through, carrying a hint of chill. The senior officers of the Bailiang army knelt on one knee, solemn and respectful. Commander, it's getting cold. Put on a cloak. As soon as Chun Sansi came out of the tent, 2 people draped a cloak over his shoulders. He did not refuse their goodwill, but looking at the neatly aligned generals, he couldn't help but ask, "What is this?" Halfway through the question, Chun Sansi froze on the spot, because the corner of his eye caught sight. The cloak on his shoulder was bright yellow. Chapter 873, Fallen Phoenix. What are you all trying to do? Chun Sansi furrowed his brows, addressing the crowd. Commander, Zhao Kong spoke first. Dashing is foolish, the court is unjust. First, it poisoned the world with spiritual grain. Then came 10 days in Yunzhou, closing roads at Guandu. The people's hearts have long been lost. The national destiny is finished. What virtue and ability does the 6th son of the Chao family have to continue sitting on the emperor's throne? Since joining the military, Commander has achieved numerous feats, from crossing the river with the people from Peyang to the 4 crossings of Hengze, recapturing Ziwei and more. All these years, fighting north and south, restoring peace to the world, you were the people's choice, the hope of all. The world has suffered under the Chao family for too long. The only solution now is for Commander to ascend the throne, to soothe the hearts of the people and unite the world. Therefore, we request Commander to ascend to the throne. After he finished speaking, the other generals chimed in unison. We request Commander to ascend to the throne. Nonsense. Chun Sansi glanced at the generals in front of him, looking at the yellow robe on his body. His first feeling was unexpected yet inevitable. Things have reached this point, he was no longer a lone figure. Many things were inevitable developments. In fact, even if he returned to Bailiang, in the eyes of many, he was not much different from the emperor. Just for now. Chun Sansi indeed had many things to handle, truly not interested in these trivialities. The sixth son of the Chao family was just a worker anyway. Calling him Ganyu and Huokua back then was not just a saying. If Chao's sixth son couldn't do well, he'd just continue to change people. This return to Bailiang was also to recuperate, focusing first on handling the ancestor vein matters. Thinking this way, Chun Sansi was about to tear off the yellow robe from himself. Unexpectedly, his sixth brother Wang Ji and senior sister Nine Rong Yanqiu held his arms from both sides. "Brother, are you confused? Things have reached this point. Ascend to the throne first, then talk." "That's right, Commander. If you don't agree today, we would be guilty of treason punishable by death. We would have to go to Chang'an to face execution." "Exactly. If Commander doesn't agree, we will face execution." A group of soldiers spoke, making gestures to lay down weapons and head to Chang'an. Until a cool wind blew through, silence fell outside the tent. The white robe standing at a high place suddenly became calm. But this calmness made the generals feel fear from the depths of their hearts. "Why?" Chun Sansi looked at everyone calmly, hesitated for a long time before saying, "Are you forcing me?" "Commander, we have absolutely no such intention," the generals hurriedly explained. "We just think Commander deserves this position. The Chao family sins are monstrous. Why do they still sit on the dragon chair as lord? Are they worthy? Commander, you are the undisputed best in the world right now. To speak harshly, who can truly force Commander?" Indeed, indeed. We are aware of Commander's patience, so we came up with this measure. Commander, consider carefully." "Zhao Kong." Chun Sansi narrowed his eyes slightly, questioning, "Who taught you those words at the beginning?" Zhao Kong stammered, I thought of them myself." "You?" Chun Sansi turned his gaze to the corner in the distance. "Su Wenkai, stop hiding. Come out." "Sir, sir." Su Wenkai trotted up to him, bowed and said, "It was indeed I who taught them. Please do not blame them." "All right," Chun Sansi said calmly. "Then speak up." "Sir." Su Wenkai lowered his head respectfully. "Today's matter was discussed between myself and Mr. Fong, and Mr. Fong even called someone over. Perhaps you should listen first." Before he finished speaking, Chun Sansi already knew who it was. At the end of the crowd, a tall figure wearing a long robe with a pale complexion seemed somewhat weak. It was Lu Ji. "Brother." Lu Ji stopped his steps, meeting the other's gaze steadily, speaking slowly. "Whether you acknowledge me or not, as long as Master hasn't expelled me, I am your oldest brother. We don't have a deep personal relationship, you might not listen to what I have to say, but I must still say it. Today, if I were in your position, I would sit on that throne without hesitation. It's a responsibility. As a master has his responsibility, as an older brother has his responsibility, as the number one in the world, one should also have the responsibility of being the number one. I understand your thoughts, that becoming the emperor would bring many troubles, affecting your cultivation. You think as long as you remain the number one in the world, even if the court is foolish, you can replace it as you wish. But have you considered one problem? Doesn't a stable court also affect whether the world is at peace? If you truly keep changing emperors back and forth, can the lives you care about truly live well? Here he stopped abruptly, seeming to give him time to think. After several breaths he continued, "As you said, no one in this world can truly force you, in the end, what to do. It's still your own choice. I've said all I can. Brother, farewell." Lu Ji came quickly and left quickly, leaving after his speech, disappearing without a trace. Chun Sansi nodded, deeply contemplating. He indeed worried about affecting his cultivation. "Sir." Su Wenkai stepped forward, saying, "What General Lu said, you can ignore, but there is one point you cannot overlook. Years ago as I traveled, I obtained a strange book. It recorded some fragmentary mention of national destiny, perhaps related to your frequent use of the heavenly book array. Chapter 874. National Fortune? Chun Sansi took the book handed over by the other party. Among them, a few words on a fragment of the scroll caught his attention, transforming public will into national fortune. Having used the heavenly book array several times, he roughly concluded that the mystical energy within the Xianzhu is closely related to the public's inclination. For this reason, back when Ming State's Liang Jinian allowed his subordinates to burn, kill, and plunder, causing the people to avoid the Red Eyebrow Army at all costs, ultimately the heavenly book array was practically unusable. Moreover, all the formations Chun Sansi has employed up to now are actually trimmed-down versions, never showcasing their full power. Take the Zhou Tian Star Battle Formation, for example. If there were enough mystical energy and other restrictions were met, what could be summoned would not be just shattered stars but actual celestial bodies that blot out the sky, possibly more than one. It's just, the mystical energy is insufficient. Chun Sansi has fought in the north and south, accumulating about 70 to 80% of Jiang Mountain's public will and mystical energy, yet it's still far from sufficient to fully utilize the heavenly book array. Even absorbing the southern mystical energy is still not enough. Therefore, it is necessary to transform the public will into national fortune. Upon careful reflection, Chun Sansi barely snatched the Dragon Abyss sword from Chao Kai with the mystical energy he gathered from a vast territory, which means that an equivalent amount of national fortune is more potent than mystical energy. And to convert national fortune, one naturally needs to establish a nation. My lord, Su Wenkai continued, although I do not understand the way of cultivation, I know that the peace in the world is only temporary. The enchanted immortal is not yet over, and perhaps we will need that mystical power in the future. Chun Sansi remained silent. Both what the senior brother and Su Wenkai said made sense, especially concerning the national fortune and mystical power. Should they have to face the cultivators from the Sky-Water continent in the future, mere public will might not be enough. Seeing the commander deep in thought, Su Wenkai hurriedly gestured to the others. Zhu Tong and the others immediately brought out a hastily made dragon chair, and senior brothers and sisters rushed over, pressing the white robe onto the chair. All the other generals knelt neatly on the ground. This humble servant greets the heavenly sun. Long live His Majesty the Emperor. Long live, forever. Sitting on the dragon chair with his yellow robe donned, Chun Sansi looked at the ministers kneeling on the ground and couldn't help but think of handling the mountainous bureaucratic affairs of a capital and 36 states daily, feeling a bit of a headache. Alas, you've really made things difficult for me. The ministers rejoiced, bowing once more. All right, rise all of you. Chun Sansi knew that based on national fortune alone, some things seem unavoidable. If that is so, then go all the way. But not right now. He stood up and ordered sternly, everyone get out. Arrange the withdrawal of troops, and anyone who leaks today's events, their family will be executed to the 9th degree, contending for the throne. He had the strength and enough troops, but there are still 2 points lacking until now. Firstly, a justified pretext. Chao Lulang had no other talents but was excellent at winning people's hearts. While Bailiang fought at the front, he would go to the rear and personally pluck spiritual grain in the fields, doing whatever Bailiang did. The final effect achieved was making all the scholars in the world believe that enchanted immortal and expunging traitors were set by the legitimate court, and Bailiang was merely following orders. After the war ended, Chao Lulang showed great trust in the Bailiang army holding military power, even willingly leaving the imperial jade seal for safekeeping with the Bailiang king, especially after their previous bond of brotherhood. For thousands of years, when has any court ever treated its servants so generously? With all these factors combined, there is really no reason to act, at least not for now. Secondly, the yellow sparrow behind. The Guiyuan sect watches closely from behind, making it too risky to take action now. The forbidden character in the Xianzhu can't be used, and a way to lure the yellow sparrow to act first is needed. With these 2 points in mind, Even if Chun Sansi plans to contend for the throne next, he needs to retreat to Bailiang to prepare. My lord. Su Wenkai caught up, swallowing and saying, there's no need to withdraw the troops. Based on the timing, we can head straight to Chang'an now. Chun Sansi continued walking briskly. Su Wenkai, you should understand my concerns. My lord. Su Wenkai closely followed behind, looking conflicted and hesitant, before finally sweeping his sleeve and deciding, your two concerns Mr. Fong has already taken into account and resolved ahead for you. What did you say? Chun Sansi froze. Su Wenkai, what are you saying? How did my fourth senior brother solve it? My lord. Su Wenkai, with his hands holding a feather fan, bowed his head and looked at the dirt beneath, afraid to raise his eyes, and said in a somewhat trembling voice, earlier this morning, Mr. Fong went east along the Ming Path past Golden Crane Mountain, and by now is likely at Luofeng Slope, Chang'an, the residence of the Guiyuan sect cultivators. Unexpectedly, that Chun is exceptionally well behaved. In a couple of days, they should be retreating. Just wait a few more years. Once the ancestor veins rejuvenate, he's nothing but a mere true power middle stage, not worth much. Dragon Abyss Sword, Imperial Jade Seal, will retrieve them together by then. He's like a grasshopper after autumn, won't last long. Indeed, thought he'd oppose us, but he's disobedient. Fellow brothers, Sima Yao wants to meet us, saying there's important information regarding Chun Sansi. Amid everyone's discussions, a cultivator came to report. The Sima clan was initially allies with the Guiyuan sect when they came to the eastern continent. Sima Yao? What's his purpose in coming? Qian Qiren stroked his chin. Let him in. Chapter 875. Fellow Taoists. Sima Yao hurriedly entered the courtyard. Something has happened. Chun Sansi is making a move. What move? Qian Qiren said solemnly. Is he really planning to attack the capital city? Quick, prepare the formation. No. Sima Yao interrupted. The Bailiang army is already preparing to retreat. Chun Sansi has not come to the capital city but left a clone in the army. His true self has left the formation and headed east. East. Qian Qiren was not too concerned, only finding it a bit strange. Taoist Sima. However, Huang Laojiu, who had not been there previously, appeared silently upon hearing this. He grabbed Sima Yao's wrist and asked urgently, are you sure he went east? Yes. Sima Yao nodded vigorously. Absolutely certain. Not good. Cui Zhichen suddenly realized, if you keep going east past Guandu, it's the Mang Mountain Ancestor Vein. He's heading towards the Mang Mountain Ancestor Vein. Sun Xiangzong. Could it be Sun Xiangzong? Qian Qiren exclaimed loudly. Sun Xiangzong once used a sealing spirit great formation to destroy an ancestor vein at the ends of the earth. Now Chun Sansi has broken through to the true power middle stage, and his injuries are mostly healed. Is it possible he plans to emulate his master and destroy the ancestor vein? Cui Zhichen asked nervously. Can he do it? Hard to say. Qian Qiren paced back and forth. Back in Yulon capital, I deliberately got close to Feng Chu Feng Qingyun, Sun Xiangzong's fourth disciple, to inquire about secrets regarding the guardian. Judging by his tone, Sun Xiangzong might have really left something behind. The matter of the guardian is known to few. If that's the case, Cui Zhichen's expression grew increasingly grave as he urgently said to those around him, it's really possible that Chun San could destroy the ancestor vein. If so, all our sacrifices would have been in vain. Senior Huang, you... TSS. Before the words were finished, the braying of a donkey sounded in their ears, and the donkey cart soared into the air, disappearing in the blink of an eye. What is old Huang planning? To chase Chun Sansi alone? Can he manage it? Then what are we waiting for? Let's go together. No. Cui Zhichen watched the disappearing silhouette of the old farmer, exhaling a long sigh of relief. Senior Huang has finally made a move, so let's not become a burden. Him, Qian Qiren said dismissively. Brother Cui, what are you blabbering about? How could old Huang possibly defeat Chen Sansi on his own? Daoist Qian. Cui Zhichen couldn't help but say, "You're confused. Haven't you realized by now? It's not that the sect hasn't sent an elder, they've already sent one." Upon hearing this, not only Qian Qiren, but all the cultivators were stunned, feeling incredulous soon after. "Daoist Cui, you're the one talking nonsense. We've been at Guiyuan sect for so many years, and we've never heard of an elder with the surname Huang." "Wait, I might have thought of someone," Qian Qiren said somewhat blankly. "Fellow brothers, have you ever heard of our Guiyuan sect's Supreme Elder?" Supreme Elder? Most of the cultivators present were under 50 years old, but they had heard of the sect's Supreme Elder. In general, every sect has a sect master, elders, and supreme elders, with the supreme elders being the highest in rank. The supreme elder of Guiyuan sect, Master Feng Qi, has been in seclusion for over 80 years. This younger generation had never seen him. "Qian Qiren, do you mean that Huang Laojiu is our supreme elder?" Golden Crane Peak. The mountain ranges stretched endlessly, and the layers of forests were dyed in colors. The towering peaks looked like silent giant gods, looming coldly over the land, with a splash of the setting sun's afterglow casting the last warmth among them. A figure wearing a spirited white robe was gliding on a flying sword at low altitude between the mountains and forests. He gazed at the beautiful sunset scenery of thousands of miles, feeling the breeze gently blowing on his face, and naturally opened his arms to embrace the heaven and earth Qi. Huang Laojiu, or rather the supreme elder of Guiyuan sect, Master Feng Qi, had already appeared behind the figure in the white robe. Above his heavenly spirit, an ancient and worn-out compass emerged and was crazily spinning on its own, with cracks extending over its surface. The Wind Queen's strange door plate. This was a relic extracted by the Guiyuan sect with immense effort from a site on Sky Water Continent, the only one in heavenly water. Its function was to obscure the heavenly secrets, and even the seal of Eastern Continent couldn't decipher it. But that was if one doesn't make a move. Once you make a move, you would be captured by the seal, and the Wind Queen's strange door plate would get damaged, making it impossible to fully obscure heavenly secrets anymore, and it would self-destruct in a short time. Attempting a second strike would result in death under the suppression of the heaven and earth seal. That is to say, after one strike, even if this supreme elder possessed late-stage golden core cultivation, he didn't dare to show his power, and could only use golden core realm escape techniques to flee quickly, or else he would perish. But the ancestor vein concerns the sect's millennial prosperity, along with many secrets, so Huang Laojiu had to come personally to be completely assured. This trip was well worth it. Dragon Abyss Sword, Imperial Jade Seal, Heavenly Book Array, Xianzhu. In a desolate land with exhausted spiritual energy, how many treasures lie? If all could be obtained, what great fortune and opportunity it would be. Guiyuan sect's ascension to a nascent soul sect is only a matter of time. And in this divine continent, there is also this exceptionally gifted young person in front of him. Given this person's martial arts talent, if one day he obtained the inheritance beyond true power, along with the Xianzhu in hand, the consequences would be unimaginable. And because of this, Huang Laojiu hadn't made a move, but rather used someone else's hand to kill. Chapter 876. When exactly? When one of them, either Emperor Longqing or Chen Sansi, dies, only then will he make a move. This way, he can ensure his own safety while eliminating them both. Of course, it's best if the two of them perish together, leaving the Wind Queen's strange door plate for other uses later on. The plan went smoothly. The Chun brat, even if he sees through his identity, has no choice but to fight desperately against Longqing. But he never expected. The Xianzhu in this brat's hands has Qingxian energy inside, exuding a terrifying pressure, making Huang Laojiu dare not act rashly. Till now, he hasn't figured out what it actually is. But since the white robe doesn't take the initiative to strike, he won't initiate either. They all just drag it out like this. After all, the ancestor vein will rejuvenate day by day. But who would have thought? This brat had his eyes on the ancestor vein all along. If the ancestor vein gets destroyed, then everything will be over. Can't wait any longer. Huang Laojiu has to take a gamble no matter what. The fact that the other party hasn't actively pursued him means that the things inside the Shenzhou might not truly hold him back. Otherwise, why would there be a stalemate? With the ancestor vein about to be destroyed, he can't care about much else. Wasting the compass will just have to be endured. Anyway, if one strike doesn't succeed, he can still use the golden core escape technique to flee. In this realm, no one can stop him. Amidst the clouds, Huang Laojiu's entire aged arm transforms into a branch entwined with vines, with plant tendrils clearly visible below his neck, face, and even in his pupils. It's as if he isn't a human race cultivator. With a wave, his entire arm turns into soft wooden spikes that suddenly extend and appear hundreds of meters away in an instant. As for everything behind, the white robe ahead seems completely oblivious, only accelerating continuously towards the Mang Mountain ancestor vein. 20 years have passed. From the 58th year of Longqing to the first year of Orthodox, Fang Qingyun has sat in a wheelchair for 20 years, and it's the first time he enjoys the freedom of soaring. As a child, Fang Qingyun loved chess, undefeated across the state at the age of 8, famed in the wilderness. Later, he was captivated by tales of seeking immortality from storybooks, but couldn't find a method for a long time. At 16, he joined Sun Xiangzong's sect, mastering top-level swordsmanship in the Divine Continent, yet still yearning for immortality. Until decades of Longqing had passed, Fang Qingyun finally found the ends of the earth, and under the guidance of an immortal, entered Sky-Water Continent. Possessing a heavenly-grade spiritual root, he quickly became a true disciple of an upper-class immortal sect and met his lifelong love willing to become Tao companions. However, at that time, his master was tricked and trapped in the capital city prison. Needing him to accomplish some tasks, he went without hesitation and ended up in this state. So he never returned to the Sky-Water, choosing to remain in the Divine Continent. Having traveled and seen, he long let go of his obsession with seeking immortality. The so-called immortals are no different from mortals, engaging in endless struggles. The only regret is being unworthy of the fairy's beauty, which is somewhat regrettable. The journey was fraught with ups and downs. He was once a martial arts prodigy with a heavenly grade spirit root, later becoming a world-renowned unrivaled strategist. His life was indeed remarkable. In a daze, Fang Qingyun found himself outside the overlapping peaks, with vast stretches of undulating slopes and valleys ahead. From the map deeply engraved in his mind, he found the name of this place, Luofeng Slope. The scholar couldn't help but smile bitterly. It's a good final resting place. In his lifetime, a genius in martial arts, a prodigy in cultivation, a master in warfare unmatched in the world. Now, even in death, he could create a nation's fortune. Splendid. Killing intent surged. Wooden tendrils like sharp arrows pierced from behind, impaling the scholar's chest, swiftly absorbing and converting his internal organs into nutrients. Blood spurted out like a blood-red lotus blooming under the sunset's twilight. Chapter 877. National Title. Just after Mu Su hit the target. In Huang Laojiu's eyes, the original white robe had somehow turned into a green robe, and the appearance had greatly changed. It was not the person he wanted to kill at all. Within the gale, the green-robed scholar fell straight down, plunging into the depths of Luofeng Slope as if returning to the abyss, from then on disappearing without a trace. Ha! It's been so many years since this old man came out, and to be tripped by a cripple truly useless indeed. Huang Laojiu has already understood the chain of events. Only after he no longer concealed his cultivation could he see that the other party used essence blood and lifespan to activate a second-tier talisman, but it was too late. Crack! At the moment Master Feng Qi struck, the Wind Queen's magic above shattered into pieces, then unfolded a gray barrier like a curtain to cover him. The strike only happened once. Or rather, as soon as he displayed any law power, spells, or magic artifacts of the late Golden Core stage, even for an instant, he would be exposed, and could only hide within the concealing boundary of the Wind Queen's magic afterward. The concealing boundary is equivalent to a solid wall, trapping Huang Laojiu within it. If he continued to strike, he would personally break the cage protecting him. For this reason, it was impossible for him to prematurely reveal any spells of the Golden Core realm to investigate, wasting a precious chance to strike. Crack! In an instant of distraction, a crack appeared on the concealing boundary. At the same time, a flame shot up into the sky, heading straight towards Luofeng's slope from a distance. The true white robe emerged amid raging flames, his pupils spitting fire, his visage terrifying like the fire god descending from the heavens. Ha ha! Huang Laojiu chuckled indifferently, still revealing his blackened teeth with a simple face. Little Chun Daoist, this old man's observation shows your senior brother's meridians have dried up, and old wounds are hard to heal. He didn't have many days left. Cutting his life short saves him from suffering. Shouldn't little Chun Daoist be happy? Why such anger? What did you say? Boom! The burning sky intense flames consumed the heavenly dome. The setting sun fell on the phoenix. Fire clouds filled the sky. Big movement but little skill. Huang Laojiu, hiding inside the heavenly mechanism's concealed boundary, watched the beautiful scene of dusk, took a sip of bitter yellow wine. Little Chun Daoist, you won this round. This old one will take his leave. Advise you not to waste your effort chasing. If a mere true power martial cultivator could kill a core formation cultivator, our hundreds of years would have been lived in vain. Farewell, farewell. As his words faded, he, along with the cage formed by the heavenly mechanism boundary, turned into a light of escape, in the blink of an eye reaching the edge of the sky. No matter how much Chun Sansi chased, his magical cultivation realm was only at the chi refining middle stage. How could he compare to a cultivator of late golden core stage? Even though he burned mana and activated talismans, he could only watch as the toothless old cultivator grew ever distant from him. Old thief! The white robe's anguished roar echoed across the heavens and earth. If you are executed on the spot today, I will only kill you. If you escape the divine continent today, one day I will annihilate your entire Guiyuan sect. Hee. Huang Laojiu chuckled awkwardly. Young in age but not in arrogance. Think first where little Chun Daoist will get resources for future cultivation after offending all sects under heaven. Golden light accelerated again. His figure completely disappeared. Chun Sansi chased until his mana was exhausted, no longer able to sustain flight, falling like a wingless eagle from a great height, crashing into a mountain top, raising a cloud of dust. Rumble! With a thunderous sound, he leapt from the devastation, crashing through countless towering ancient trees, running wildly into the depths of Luofeng's slope, finding the corpse wearing green robes. Silent. Chun Sansi collapsed in the dirt, silent for a long time, just quietly watching the body, his face resembling a deep dark lake. No one could tell what he was thinking. Until night fell, the sound of armored horse hooves rang continuously. Su Wenkai and the generals of Beiliang arrived one after the other. Old Four. Wang Ji and others were all stunned on the spot. The forest once again plunged into deathly silence. Su Wenkai closed his eyes and breathed, calming his mind before walking to the highest point of Luofeng's slope. As he observed the stars again, he saw, with Phoenix fallen, a new star over Beiliang, Ziwei bright, taking dominion over the 5 emperors. Pass my order. Under the flickering torchlight, Chun Sansi slowly rose, facing the direction of Chang'an, and ordered solemnly. Beiliang fights to the death to protect the nation. Yet the court endlessly suspects, colluding with Guiyuan sect to kill our strategist, intending to destroy our Beiliang. Retreat is no longer an option. Immediately march to the capital city, to punish the unworthy emperor. I hear the order. Thousands upon thousands echoed in unison, the sound shaking the heavens and earth. Capital city, bedchamber. During the time of Mao, just at the break of dawn, the rightful emperor Chao Huan got up early, preparing to attend court and listen to government affairs. The great Shang has been decaying for a long time. He must strive energetically to set the world in order with his remaining life, so that he may support the society. He did not indulge in women or pleasure, having been diligent these past 2 years. Creak. 2 palace maids opened the palace doors. Hiss. He frowned. I'm about to go to court. Why such urgency? Can't it wait? Your Majesty. There's a big incident. A big incident. Overly alarmed, Shangguan Haichong stumbled and fell to the ground. Guiyuan sect, that Guiyuan sect's Huang Laojiu, has killed Fang Qingyun. Chapter 878. What did you say? The legitimate Emperor Chao Huan's pupils trembled violently as he lifted his robe and strode forward. Has the Guiyuan sect gone mad, killing Fang Qingyun for no reason? Do they not know that Fang is Chen Sanxi's senior brother? I have no idea, Your Majesty, Minister of War Ming Qingfeng said in a trembling voice. It's being rumored outside that the court is wary of Bailiangs holding too much military power and wants to eliminate them after they've served their purpose. After Fang Qingyun's death, Chen Sanxi directly led troops south from Ba County, heading straight for the capital Chang'an. This has nothing to do with me, Chao Huan said bewilderedly. Have you explained? It was all done by the Guiyuan sect and has absolutely nothing to do with me. Your Majesty, you are confused, Shangguan Haichong said. Chun knows perfectly well. He is taking advantage of this situation, deliberately using his senior brother's life to justify his actions. What a venomous heart. Why? Have I not given him enough? I even entrusted him with the Imperial Jade Seal. Why does it have to be like this? Why? The legitimate Emperor Chao Huan said incoherently. Where have they reached now? Ming Qingfeng replied. In at most another half a month, they'll reach Chang'an. The route is all plains with no major cities to block them. In fact, they all knew. Who could stop the white robe? Quick! Chao Huan's hands trembled. Go invite the immortal masters of the Guiyuan sect for consultation. Set up an array, yes. Have Elder Huang set up a second-tier array in the capital. Then seek aid from the Sky-Water continent. Your Majesty, Shangguan Haichong interrupted. The immortal masters of Guiyuan sect fled overnight yesterday. All of them left? Chao Huan tightly gripped his arm. What about my 12th brother? Prince Yan is also missing. Woe unto me! Upon hearing this, the legitimate Emperor Chao Huan cried out mournfully and then fell straight back in a faint. Your Majesty! Your Majesty! The ministers hastily came forward to assist. That afternoon, inside the Taiji Palace, the legitimate Emperor Chao Huan and civil and military officials gathered within, making their last stand. Your Majesty! The Chun-named rogue is heading south with unstoppable force. All cities along the way are opening their gates in surrender. Even if occasional resistance occurs, it doesn't last more than half a day. Chun the Hunter is still 10 days away from Chang'an. Your Majesty, Chen Sanxi will reach the capital in 3 days. The Bailiang King is 50 li away from the city gates. Your Majesty, open the gates and surrender. If we put up a futile resistance and anger the Bailiang King, it will be bad for all of us. On the dragon chair, the legitimate Emperor Chao Huan was heartbroken. Outside the city gates of Chang'an, a white robe sat on a white horse, standing tall before the gates under the setting sun. Behind him was a tide-like black Bailiang iron cavalry, a red flag with the Chan character billowing in the wind. Above the city walls, none of the defending soldiers dared shoot an arrow. Boom! The city gate opened wide. The legitimate Emperor Chao Huan, dressed in a bright yellow dragon robe, walked forward shakily with the support of 2 eunuchs, followed by numerous officials, both civil and military. Except for the emperor, all civil and military officials kneeled down uniformly. We ministers greet the Bailiang King. We welcome the Bailiang King into the capital. Chen Sanxi did not speak or make any movement, simply sitting on horseback, quietly looking down at Chao's 6th son, the last emperor of the great Qing dynasty. Chao's 6th son wiped the tears from the corner of his eyes, struggling internally before his lips trembled and he spoke. I am physically weak and aging, incompetent and lacking in talent, unable to benefit the world or have virtues for the people, truly low in virtue and thin in grace, unable to bear the title of Heavenly Son. In contrast, my virtuous brother has both talent and virtue, has fought north and south for years, winning every battle, supporting the great house when it was about to collapse, bringing back relief when the situation seemed in peril, upholding the world, saving the people, truly with the support of all. Now, as the situation stabilizes, the realm unsettled, it requires my virtuous brother to shoulder the heavy responsibility of protecting all people in the eastern continent. Therefore, I plan to step down from my position, abdicate to my virtuous brother. As he spoke, the eunuch beside him presented the dragon crown, commander's seal, and other items one by one. Why does your majesty say such things? Chun Sansi finally spoke. Today, Chun enters Chang'an only to seek justice for Bailiang, not with rebellion in mind. No, Chao Huan said. The great Shang dynasty has run its course. Only my virtuous brother can take the position. Enter the city first. Chun Sansi said softly. No need to rush discussing these matters. If Su Wenkai and their predictions are true, if they want to convert the people's mystical energy into national fortune quickly and effectively, they need an abdication ceremony to announce it to the world. Additionally, ascending to the position, the enthronement ceremony, and so forth all require a long time to prepare, none of which can be done overnight. Now that the Guiyuan sect has fled, and there are no threats left within the eastern continent, there is no need to hurry. Enter the city, the order officer shouted loudly. 80,000 Bailiang army troops occupied the capital. Chun Sansi, along with his family, temporarily stayed at the Champion Marquis mansion specially prepared for him beforehand. Starting in July, every time he attended court, the legitimate emperor would bring up the matter of abdication, each time with increasing fervor, until the end of August, after 3 refusals and 3 offers, the abdication was finally formally settled. In early September, Chao Huan officially left the imperial palace, moving with his family to a duke's mansion within the capital. From then, the people of Bailiang began preparing for the enthronement ceremony. Everything was about to be ready. The remaining dragon origin sword chi within Chun Sansi's body was completely removed, allowing him to properly account for the many gains and cultivation achievements of the past 2 years. Cultivation technique, Dragon Scripture, True Power Middle Stage. Chapter 879. Progress 0/500. Cultivation technique, Swallowing Fire technique. 6th layer of Qi refining. Progress 265/1200. The martial arts realm hasn't been improved yet, while the Swallowing Fire technique is continuously improving. It is expected that it won't take long to reach the late stage, then start preparing for foundation establishment. After foundation establishment, the lifespan extends to 200 years, which is greatly beneficial for both the time required for subsequent martial arts cultivation and strength enhancement. After all, the realm above true power is temporarily unknown, and the true power realm does not increase lifespan. During this time, Chun Sansi couldn't possibly not improve his strength at all. But another problem lies ahead. Spiritual energy. The spiritual pearl left by the master is equivalent to a first-rank top-grade spirit vein, which corresponds to the demand for spiritual energy in the Qi refining realm. The Swallowing Fire technique before foundation establishment is sufficient, but the Dragon Scripture is somewhat lacking. As the realm goes higher, the training speed naturally slows down, and first-rank spirit veins are somewhat insufficient to support the needs from true power middle stage to late stage. Coupled with the absence of elixir pills, there are many things that need to be dealt with in the future. Spell, Thick Earth Decision, Small Achievement. Progress, 852/2000. Magic, 10,000 Sword Sky. Break Limit Second Tier. Progress, 1288/2000. Divine Skill, Arrow Tao, First Rank. Progress, 155/2000. Skill, Talisman Painting, First Rank. Progress, 314/500. Skill, Formation, First Rank. Progress, 231 to 500. Skill, Alchemy, first rank. Progress, 398/500. All skills have been improved, among which the alchemy skill is about to reach second tier. Speaking of which, Chun Sansi still owes the Bai family many elixir pills and a favor. If it weren't for the elixir pills gifted by Lin Xuan from the Bai family, the breakthrough to the true power early stage, middle stage speed might have dragged on for much longer. Once affairs on the divine continent are settled, he really needs to make a trip to the Sky-Water continent. Besides, Chun Sansi took out many storage bags, full of various spoils, including but not limited to magic artifacts, elixir pills. Altogether these can be exchanged for a considerable amount of spirit stones, but actually the most valuable there are only two sorts, such as the Ling family's Tianhe sword skill, Nether River breathing method, and the second-tier array inheritance left by Dan Liangqing. Chun Sansi is also considering whether to practice the water element breathing technique. The Dragon Scripture's 5 elements breathing technique, once chosen, can only follow one path, but it doesn't say he can't practice the other breathing skills of different cultivation techniques. According to records, the shrines in the majority of martial artist bodies cannot simultaneously accommodate 2 different attributes, but it doesn't mean that he can't, it's just that there wasn't time to try before, always racing against the clock to enhance the realm. Moreover, he holds the spiritual pearl, equivalent to spirit vein resources, naturally cannot be wasted. In the future, whether it's offspring, disciples, fellow disciples, or subordinates, they can all use spirit veins, martial arts, immortal path cultivation techniques to offer different options. But if he wants to cultivate a large number of cultivators, whether martial arts or immortal path, not only spirit veins are needed but also a vast array of other resources. This can only be gradually achieved later. After sorting through these, Chun Sansi's expression gradually became somewhat solemn, as he picked up a letter from beside the desk, left by the 4th senior brother. Junior brother Shancher, the matter of driving out the yellow sparrow is my main idea. Don't blame others. Also no need to mourn for me. I have always been like a candle in the wind. Managing to do something for the divine continent before leaving is rather fulfilling my wish. Extremely fortunate. Looking back to that time by the Hongze River, Master and I had made a compromise. It was your appearance that gave this dead end a glimmer of hope. Now we have one. Just hope you won't blame me for pushing you into a high position with heavy burdens. Attached is a letter with some records about the Guardian and Sealing Spirit Great Formation. If needed, you can give it a try. In addition, I have a request. If there is a chance in the future, I hope you can make a hard trip to Qingshu sect in Skywater Continent, hand the jade flute to Fairy Jiang, and tell her Qingyun this life regrets but hopes to repay in the next. Junior brother, farewell. After reading, Chun Sansi carefully preserved the letter paper. Revenge must be taken for this vendetta. Whether 3 years or 10 years or 30 years. Guiyuan sect, he will definitely destroy it. After slightly calming his mood, Chun Sansi began to recall the contents in his heart. The matter of the Sealing Spirit Great Formation indeed has clues, and having clues means there's hope. Also, Qingshu sect, Master mentioned this sect in his last words, saying that if he couldn't find the subsequent martial arts inheritance after reaching the true power late stage, he could take the token to this sect. Master and senior brother, it seems, were people who stayed in Sky-Water Continent. These are just later discussions. Chun Sansi took out the second letter. This letter was left by the 3rd senior brother Nya Yuan. Since the day he was crowned, the senior brother Lu Ji, 3rd senior brother Nya Yuan, along with 5th senior brother Meng Guangxin disappeared together, leaving only the 3 camp soldiers and never heard from again. Little junior brother, I am your 3rd senior brother, leaving a letter today, with some words about the boss to tell you, and trying to explain some misunderstandings. First, the senior brother has always regarded fellow disciples as close kin, without any intent to harm. This is beyond doubt. Before you came, we all knew Master's lifespan was about to end. Compromising with the court, Master's departure would likely lead to a dire situation for the governor mansion. Therefore, whether cooperating with the former crown prince or Chao Kai was out of necessity, and the boss had mentioned marrying junior sister Sun Li, which was actually false, partly to gain emperor's trust, and partly to prevent Sun Li and Sun Buki from entering the capital, keeping them in Liangzhou, and then using the golden cicada shell trick to send them away. Chapter 880. Secondly, the eldest indeed has ambition. He does not submit to you and is still unwilling to concede. Moreover, when you first came to Liangzhou, you were merely in the refining internal or Huajin stage. None of us believed you could achieve what you have now. To be honest, even now I don't believe it. It's too exaggerated. Reaching the true power middle stage in just a few years? I have often offended you before, and I deeply apologize, not expecting my junior brother's forgiveness, just stating the truth. Finally, we are leaving and taking the fifth brother with us. Su Wenkai said if we stayed, we would all become sealed border governors, which I am willing, but the eldest is not. He has always struggled to accept not being the true inheritor, and then surpassed in the martial arts by you. He has his own pride. So, he is ready to carve out a new path on his own. I must watch over him, so if he ever strays into demonic paths, I can clear the debt with the fifth brother and apologize at our master's grave. This goodbye, who knows when we shall meet again. I wish you well, junior brother. This farewell letter and 3 people left. At Chibi and the Fei River, the eldest and third brothers played crucial roles. Without them, many things wouldn't have been so simple. What did they take the fifth brother away for? Oh well, as long as everything is safe. Putting away the envelope, Chun Sansi gathered his thoughts and headed to the front hall of the Champion Marquis Mansion. Before arriving, he heard Su Wenkai and a group discussing matters of the national name in the main hall. I have an idea, Cheng Wei murmured. How about naming the new dynasty Tang? With the fourth brother gone, in their grief, they all wanted to strive for a good new dynasty, not to let the fourth brother's sacrifices be in vain. Interesting. Yi Fengxiu nodded and said, with the Tao of Tang, leading the constant of the heavens, here in this land of hope. In ancient times there were 3 emperors. Tang of Tao Tang was Yao, an ancient wise ruler on the eastern continent. Taking this name for the nation can demonstrate grandeur. I think. Beside Wang Ji, there was a pile of books. Why not use this? How about Ming? Great Ming. It sounds wonderful, doesn't it? Look, it says in this book, great is the origin of heavens. All things begin and unify under it. Clouds move and rains spread, and all things take shape. The great Ming begins and ends. 6 positions are formed, riding 6 dragons to govern the skies. This is called following the mandate of heaven. Su Wenkai pondered seriously. Tang and Ming are both good. These 2 national names. I had previously discussed them with Mr. Fong, and there's another Qian. But it's worth considering if there's anything even better. What about Great Liang? Rong Yanxiu suggested. Many courts throughout history have used their land as the national name. Since we come from Beiliang, let's call it Great Liang. It doesn't sound good. I think Tang is better, the illustrious Great Tang. Great Ming is better. Several people argued endlessly. Chun Sansi stood outside, taking everything to heart, considering the importance of the matter with a long-term view, until he heard Chun Yunqi's soft reading voice coming from the neighboring courtyard. Heaven has the Milky Way, monitoring with its light. Chun Sansi's expression shifted slightly, and he suddenly made up his mind, quickly stepping into the hall and spoke, just call it Han. Han. Everyone was startled. Su Wenkai stroked his chin, thought carefully, then stood up and applauded. Wonderful. This suggestion is very clever. The minor odes of the Book of Songs says, Heaven has the Han, monitoring with its light. The great odes say of the Milky Way, lofty is the Milky Way, shining and returning to the heavens. The Han, the Milky Way. Also, do you know, over 1,000 years ago, the ancient name of the Hongze River was Han River. His Majesty originally brought the masses from Piyang across the Han River to officially rise from the deep. Moreover, the main flow direction of the Han River aligns with the Milky Way above the 9 heavens. Even the decisive battle of Fei River was marked by stars descending from the heavens, setting the country's fate, establishing the Jiang Mountain. There is no national name as majestic and grand as Han. Destined by fate it is. What a Han! What a great Han!